everything here to test the absorbency of the Nickies, Knickers, preflats, and flats. I do have a few additional ones here to test just to see how they compare. So the ones I have up here are the new Nickies, Knickers flat or preflats that we created with bamboo fleece and hemp in the middle. And then this is the older version, which is just the stretchy bamboo cotton to do a comparison of. And then I do have an older bamboo terry sweet pumpkin preflat. These aren't made anymore, but I did want something to compare it to so you guys can kind of see what maybe another preflat would hold. And then I do have the Nickies flat back here. This is the bamboo cotton one, and that's French cherry. And then I have also a couple of different ones here. I have the Fruit of the Womb Twist Jersey flat, and I have a French terry flat bottom flat. So these ones are just ones to kind of compare to how much they hold. And the way that I'm going to do this absorbency test is I'm going to add them in onto the scale, and then I'll go ahead and put whatever it is I'm using here, and that'll give me a weight right there, and I'll be able to tear it off, and then I will pour water onto it until it no longer absorbs any. So we're just going to see how much these will hold as far as fluid ounces. Alright, so I do have the original preflat in here, as you can see. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And I do have it in ounces here. I'm going to add this so you guys can see that we're just adding just the preflat and the container. And then I'm going to tear it. And then we're going to pour on the water equally onto it. And then when it starts rolling off, or we see some accumulating at the bottom, that's when we'll stop. Back and forth. Yeah. Go ahead and check that. Okay, as you can see, it's still dry on the bottom. We're just looking on the bottom there. Starting to get a little bit there, but I'm also going to fold it in because we do still have the rest of this as far as absorbency. Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. And you can see that it's starting to come out on the bottom there, but we still do have some dry up here. So I want to go ahead and get the dry spots there. All right, and that looks about right because we got a little bit on the bottom, but we still have a dry spot here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this up and let anything drip off that is going to. And then we're going to, as soon as it's done dripping, I'm going to switch out the bins and put it back on there to see where we're at. I'm not squeezing it or anything because I really don't want to get any excess out, like any extra that it could absorb out of it. There we go. I just want to make sure that it's not so soaked that everything is falling out. So we're going to go ahead and switch them and put those on. And there is a dry spot up here, so I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit more onto it, just on the dry spots, as you can see. In the middle. All right. I think that is about as much as this one's going to hold. It's soaked. Like, this is if your baby wore it for way too long and it was soaked, and what it could really hold without getting too much on your cover. And we're sitting right there at about 11 ounces, 11.7 ounces. And this is on the original preflat. This is not the new one. So this is just the one that she had beforehand that was just the 3 layers of the bamboo jersey, or the bamboo French cherry, sorry. All right, and as you can see, we're starting at 0. I'm gonna go ahead and put the bin on it again, and then I'm going to put the new preflat in it. And then we're gonna go ahead and see it's at 10.3, gonna go ahead and tare it, and then add water onto it. And we're gonna see how much this one absorbs. There was a little runoff there, so I'm going to see if we can get that onto the actual preflat here, because I know that it's going to absorb more than just this little bit. There we go. I want to make sure we got this as correct as possible. So go ahead and put that on there some more. Okay. And we do have a little bit more runoff there, but we'll make sure that makes it onto the preflat. There we go. I know this is going to absorb at least that. The new preflat has some bamboo fleece in it, so it's got a higher GSM on it, which is why it does absorb a little slower, but that's kind of the trade-off for something that absorbs more. And okay, so it looks like we're saturated at this point. We're gonna go ahead and dry out this other bin. Sorry about that. Should have had that prepared. But as you can see, we got a dry bin now. And we're sitting at 12.5 on this one. And now we're just going to do this one for comparison. Just to note, these are all mediums. I'm not using any larges. My daughter is tiny. I actually fold up the mediums on her to get more absorbency. So that's the reason that I have those. So the larges are going to be more absorbent if you do have a larger baby. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and put the bin right on here. And then we'll put the sweet pumpkin preflat in here. And this is a bamboo terry. It is not made anymore. So this is just what I happen to have to compare. So I'm going to go ahead and tear that, and then we'll get some water onto this one. All right, so we have 6.1 ounces on that so far. And we do have a few droplets here, but those will definitely be absorbed by that preflat. I can guarantee that. We still have quite a bit of unthirsted territory. Went ahead and flip that over. I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit more on there. All right, so that's definitely, we may have a little bit more in there than it can actually absorb, but we're going to go ahead and get that. And we're going to mop it a little here and see what it'll take. And then this one I do want to sit up and see how much drips off. Oh, okay, so it kept all that.
And it's dry on that one side.
Okay. Now you can see that it's just a little damp on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and put the dry one on here just to make sure we have clear results. And we have 12.9 in that one. So I have the Nickie Knickers flat in here. This is just a bamboo terry. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on our zeroed scale. And then tare it. Oh, let's try that one more time. Can you go to...
Sorry.
Just want to make sure this is all right.
Right there. Sounds better.
Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and pour the water on there. And this is just pad folded. I did fold up the side a little bit because when I pad fold them for my kid, I always have to fold up the side. She's tiny. All right. Let's see how the bottom's I'm gonna go ahead and flip that and make sure that we get all of this mopped up. All right. Okay, go ahead and add a little bit more here, as the bottom was still quite dry. I'm gonna flip it over real quick. There we go. And we do have a lot of runoff here, but we're gonna go ahead and make sure that that makes it into the flat. And whatever doesn't will be dripped off. Just to clarify here. So. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let that drip dry. And as you can see, our scale's very confused. There's a little bit that was still not wet there. There goes the bin. We're gonna go ahead and set that in. And we're sitting at about 15.1 ounces, which is about right for a bamboo terry flat. All right, so we're starting at 0 here. We're gonna go ahead and put the bin on. Same process as we used before. The one that I have on top here is bamboo terry from Flat Bottom, and we're gonna go ahead and test that just so we can have a good comparison of what each of these kind of does. And this one I'm gonna go ahead and tare. And as you can see, it's at 0 to start. And then we'll go ahead and put the water on it. All right, there is some water in the bottom there, but we're gonna go ahead and get that all up in there. As you can see, there's several dry layers there, so it's not just us shoving it into a sogging wet one. We're actually just trying to see how much it'll actually hold. And we're sitting at about 10.6 ounces right now. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on because it looks like we're getting close to what this one will hold. It's still going. I'm thinking that's about where we're gonna end up. And there is some in the bottom there. Again, we're just trying to make sure we get it off. And then we will drip this one just to make sure. Yep. So this one's gonna go dripped. And we'll flip it again just like we did the other one, so hopefully a little bit will find a home. There you go. And I think we're good there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the dry bin here on. And we'll see where we're at on that one. So this one held about 13.7. So this, is close to one of the preflats. It's just slightly less than the Nickie's Knickers bamboo flat, like really slightly. And then I will go ahead after this and do the Fruit of the Womb French, or this is just a Jersey hemp bamboo flat. This will hold less because it is Jersey, but I did want to give a good comparison. This one is again a Fruit of the Womb bamboo hemp twist flat, and it's Jersey, so it should hold a little bit less than the others, but it is a trimmer fit, as you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and tear that, and then we'll start pouring. We do have water on the sides there, but again, we'll mop that up. It won't stay there. Still have quite a bit of dry stuff there, so we'll go ahead and make sure that that's all saturated too. All right, so we're going to go ahead and make sure that that's all into the flat, because there is some dry spots there, as you can see. I hope you can see. Yep. And then go ahead and make sure that's all in there. And then it's not even really dripping. If we flip it, I'm sure it won't. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna call that because I think that pretty much held what we gave it. And this one's sitting at 10.3, which I think is about right for a Jersey flat in comparison to a French terry flat.